Dr. Rathod, the Panchtantra, written over 2,000 years ago, still captivates readers globally. What makes these ancient stories so enduring for both children and adults?
These tales encapsulate universal truths about human nature. Vishnu Sharma wrote them to impart wisdom to young princes, a task these stories achieve by simplifying complex moral lessons into engaging narratives.
That's fascinating. A particular tale, like the Brahmani and the mongoose, warns against hasty actions. How do such stories balance entertainment with education, especially in modern contexts?
The Panchatantra's animal characters symbolize human traits, making the lessons relatable. The fox's cunning or the lion's power reflects our own strengths and weaknesses, ensuring the stories remain relevant.
Yet, some argue ancient tales may not resonate with today's fast-paced life. How does the Panchatantra overcome this challenge to stay pertinent?
Human emotions and dilemmas haven't changed much. The Panchatantra's focus on intelligence over brute strength, for example, is as applicable in today's boardroom strategies as it was in ancient courts.
In many schools, Panchatantra stories form a core part of moral education. What makes them effective teaching tools for young minds, Dr. Rathod?
Their simplicity is deceptive. While the narratives are straightforward, the morals are profound, teaching kindness, patience, and the repercussions of greed and dishonesty in a manner that children grasp easily.
Indeed, simplicity is powerful. But with modern media's influence, do these stories still hold against more visually engaging formats like films and video games?
Absolutely. The Panchatantra offers a form of storytelling that engages the imagination, encouraging creative thinking and problem-solving, which isn't always the case with passive media consumption.
I see. Yet, some educators prefer newer educational models. How do you see the Panchatantra fitting into contemporary educational paradigms?
The Panchatantra's adaptability is key. It can be integrated into various subjects from literature to ethics, providing a cultural context that enriches modern curricula with timeless wisdom.
The Panchatantra was initially a manual for young rulers. What leadership qualities are highlighted in its stories, and how do they apply today?
The stories emphasize wisdom, justice, and diplomacy. For instance, leaders are cautioned against false advisors, a lesson that resonates in today's corporate and political spheres where trust is paramount.
True, but with the dynamic shift in leadership styles, do the Panchatantra's lessons still align with modern practices?
Yes, they do. Modern leadership demands insights into teamwork and strategy, areas where the Panchatantra excels. Its stories on trust and collaboration are valuable for contemporary leaders navigating complexity.
Some critics, however, suggest the stories are too simplistic for today's multifaceted challenges. What's your take on this skepticism?
The beauty lies in their simplicity. These stories strip down to core principles, offering clarity amidst complexity. For leaders, applying these clear, universal truths is often the most effective strategy.
The Panchatantra's influence spans across cultures, having inspired Aesop's fables and even stories in Arabian Nights. How has this ancient text shaped global literary traditions, Dr. Rathod?
The Panchatantra's themes of morality and wisdom resonate universally. Its translation into over 50 languages facilitated a cross-cultural exchange, embedding its narratives into global folklore and literature.
However, in an era where new literary forms are constantly emerging, does the Panchatantra risk being overshadowed?
Its universality ensures its survival. While new forms emerge, the Panchatantra connects generations through shared human values, offering a literary bridge between the past and present.
Given its rich legacy, what future do you envision for the Panchatantra in global literature?
I foresee its continued relevance. As a cultural artifact, it will keep inspiring new adaptations, reminding us of our shared human journey and ensuring its lessons endure in diverse literary
offers
landscapes.
more than simple moral lessons. Dr. Rathod, how do its aesthetic elements enhance the storytelling?
The stories employ rich symbolism and allegory, with animals representing human traits. This approach not only captures the reader's imagination but also deepens their understanding of moral nuances.
That sounds engaging. Can you give an example of how this works in practice?
Certainly, take the story of the wily jackal, which symbolizes deception. It illustrates the consequences of betrayal in a way that is both memorable and thought-provoking.
But could this symbolic method limit interpretative flexibility, confining readers to specific moral viewpoints?
While symbolism can guide interpretation, it also opens up multiple layers of meaning. Future adaptations continue to explore these layers, keeping the stories relevant across generations.
The Panchtantra is deeply rooted in Indian culture. How does this cultural context shape its aesthetic appeal?
The Tales are imbued with Indian folklore, music, and poetry, enriching their aesthetic allure. This cultural tapestry provides a window into ancient India's social customs and values.
Could you share an anecdote that highlights this cultural depth?
One tale features a brave lion symbolizing loyalty, a key virtue in South Asian culture. This reflects an ideal of virtuous leadership that resonates even today.
Some might argue that such cultural specificity limits global appeal. What are your thoughts?
While rooted in Indian culture, the universal themes of wisdom and virtue transcend boundaries. Contemporary adaptations keep these stories globally relevant by weaving in diverse cultural elements.
Comparing Panchtantra to other moral epics, what aesthetic similarities and differences stand out?
Like Aesop's fables, Panchtantra uses animal characters to explore human virtues. However, its integration of epic poetry and religious symbolism is uniquely Indian.
Could you illustrate this with a specific example?
In contrast to Western epics like the Iliad, which focus on heroism, Panchatantra's Tales emphasize moral introspection, using poetic narratives that also entertain.
Could the distinct cultural aesthetics hinder cross-cultural understanding?
Not necessarily. These differences enrich global dialogues. As storytellers reinterpret these narratives, they bridge cultural gaps, fostering a shared appreciation of moral storytelling.
The Panchatantra's influence on modern literature is significant. How do contemporary adaptations preserve its essence?
Authors like Neil Gaiman and Salman Rushdie retain Panchatantra's morals while reimagining the context. This keeps the stories fresh and relevant to modern audiences. Adaptations are a dialogue with the past, not a replacement. They provide a platform for new interpretations, ensuring the Panchatantra's moral and aesthetic values
with its
endure.
rich storytelling, has captivated audiences for centuries. Dr. Rathod, can you delve into how these tales use artistic elements to engage readers?
Absolutely. The Panchatantra employs vivid imagery like lush forests and flowing rivers to bring stories like the monkey and the crocodile to life. This vividness is akin to a painter's brush on canvas, capturing the essence of the tale's setting.
Indeed, the imagery is captivating. But how do these stories maintain their moral focus amidst such vibrant portrayals?
The Tales cleverly weave morals into entertaining narratives. Take The Lion and the Rabbit, for example, where a cunning rabbit uses wit over brawn to outsmart a lion. This story doesn't just entertain but also subtly instills the value of prudence.
A fascinating duality. However, could such an emphasis on entertainment dilute the moral message?
While that's a valid concern, the Panchatantra's structure ensures morals are integral, not overshadowed. By embedding ethical lessons within engaging stories, it ensures readers are both entertained and enlightened, much like modern-day fables.
The narrative structure of the Panchatantra seems particularly complex, often housing stories within stories. How does this impact the reader, Dr. Rathod?
This narrative technique, much like Russian nesting dolls, adds layers of depth. It encourages readers to explore interrelated themes and ethical notions, offering a multifaceted understanding of life's challenges and virtues.
Doesn't such complexity risk confusing the audience, especially younger readers?
While it might appear intricate, this structure actually enhances engagement. It invites readers, regardless of age, to think critically about the connections between stories and the overarching morals, akin to solving a puzzle.
That's intriguing. How does this complexity align with the Panchatantra's educational goals?
By challenging readers to unravel these narratives, the Panchatantra fosters analytical thinking. This aligns perfectly with its educational aim, as it not only entertains but also cultivates a deeper understanding of ethical living.
Balancing moral lessons with entertainment is no small feat. How does the Panchatantra manage this delicate balance, Dr. Rathod?
The Panchatantra masterfully blends humor and wit with moral teachings. For instance, its witty dialogues and clever plots ensure readers are amused while subtly absorbing ethical principles like in The Barber and the Monkeys.
A clever method, indeed. But could the humor overshadow the moral lessons at times?
While humor is prevalent, the Panchatantra's core mission of moral instruction remains unshaken. The stories are crafted to ensure that the laughter complements the lessons, making them memorable, much like a memorable comedy with a poignant message.
Looking ahead, how can this balance be maintained in modern adaptations of the Panchatantra?
Modern adaptations should aim to preserve this balance by updating contexts while retaining the moral essence. This ensures that the stories remain relevant yet true to their instructive origins, much like updating classic music with contemporary beats.
The Panchatantra's influence has crossed borders, impacting various cultures. How has it managed to stay relevant, Dr. Rathod?
The universal themes of the Panchatantra, such as wisdom, ethics, and human nature, resonate globally. Its adaptability allows these stories to be reinterpreted across cultures, much like timeless myths that speak to the human condition.
Could cultural reinterpretations risk altering the original messages?
That's a possibility, but these adaptations often enrich the original tales. By incorporating local nuances, they enhance the stories, making them more relatable to diverse audiences while preserving their core messages. As societies evolve, the Panchatantra's teachings will likely be recontextualized to address contemporary issues. This ensures its timeless wisdom continues to guide future generations, much like a guiding star in a changing night sky.